Hey everyone, so I'm finally getting around to doing this video, and it's only about 3 years too late, but it's basically on how I clean my brushes, and that has changed a little bit over the years really, but for the past year or so I've just been doing the same thing with them, and it's what I find works best. So it's kind of how I clean brushes, and then I'll just do some general tips on cleaning makeup brushes in general. So first of all, I almost never have to deep clean anymore. The reason being is because I stay on top of my spot cleaning, and I do it after every use, and I do it well enough that it does clean the brushes well enough that there is never a build up really of product in my brushes. So this is something I would encourage everyone to do. It's just a healthier, better way of dealing with your brushes for hygiene reasons. And then the solution that I mainly use, like more than 99% of the time, would be my MAC brush cleanser. So obviously I don't know how much this costs in different countries, but in Ireland it's €12. Actually it just went up to 13 because of the VAT increase we had there last week. But you get 235 mils of product in it, so you do get loads of product in it. Now it comes with this kind of dispenser where you know, you just can tip it over, which I'm not a fan of at all. So I decant mine into this spray kind of bottle. I have a couple of them, but you know, write brush cleanser on it as well, just so there's no doubt as to what it is. And that's how I store and carry around my brush cleanser. Now as far as actually cleaning the brushes go, I use kitchen roll most of the time. So just this, you can get it really cheap in any supermarket. Obviously just don't go for the really expensive one. Or I can use couch roll as well, or like just normal tissue paper if I'm in a hurry. And then what I tend to do is just spray the brush, the bristles, directly with the product. So I find you use a lot less product. It's more effective for the amount you use when you use a spray bottle. So however much, when I'm doing a brush that has maybe like foundation, stuff like that on it, that's a little bit harder to get, I might use a little bit more. And then depending on the shape of the brush, you wipe the brush against what will now be a damp kitchen roll that has the brush cleanser on it. So because this particular brush, say for instance, is kind of round, or it is round, I don't mind going round on the tissue like this. It's not going to affect the bristles. What you don't want to do is press it down and go mental like that, because that will really damage the bristles. So when I say round, I mean it's still kind of on its side, but I can go round, and that way it loosens the product and it cleans it up. Still be delicate though, but I just keep doing that and go back and forth as well until I can see that the brush is good and clean. And then once you have all the product off the brush, just give it a good squeeze, and then reshape the brush into its original shape. So for this it would just be to make it nice and round, and then I leave it on the side of a table or like a windowsill to dry. And this particular brush cleanser, you'll have it dry within 5-10 minutes. So the MAC one, the reason I love it is because it has obviously alcohol in it to help sanitize the stuff, which will help kill any of the germs, but also it does have conditioners in it, which is kind of rare for a brush cleanser, in that some brush cleansers that have conditioners in them or shampoos will leave a residue, whereas this doesn't. I think wheat germ is what the conditioning or the conditioner comes from in this one, and it doesn't leave a residue by any means on your brushes, and that's why I love it so much. Now quickly, if you're doing a brush that's maybe a little bit flatter, then you're not going to go circular motions with it because it will affect the bristles. So in that case you just go back and forth. So always just be aware of the shape of the brush as well when you're cleaning your brushes. Now obviously when you're a professional makeup artist and you're working on multiple faces, you have to be a little bit more pedantic and careful about hygiene and about sanitization and stuff like that. So in that case I do have alcohol that I use on my brushes. So generally if I can get my hands on it, it'll be IPA, which is isopropyl alcohol, which is a nice high percentage. Well, you can get between like 70, 90 something, so just as long as it's 70 or above to actually kill the germs. And then if you can't get that, this surgical spirits will work just as well. This is like 90%. So what I do as well is decant it again into a spray bottle, and then I have alcohol written obviously on the bottle, just so again there's no confusion, and you know, it's not sprayed anywhere it's not supposed to be sprayed. So alcohol in the long run can be drying, or will be drying, especially if it's higher concentration, on natural hair bristles. So it's something you do have to be aware of, but if you want to really kill any germs, you need to be using your alcohol, and that's kind of no getting away from it. So sometimes sometimes you might come across a client who has some kind of maybe rash or something on their face, and you're not 100% what it is, but you don't really want to ask them, and they seem, or maybe you do say and they kind of say there's nothing wrong with it, or they don't think it's anything too serious. You can't really take any risks though at the same time, so always clean your brush with alcohol to kill any of those germs afterwards, if that is the case. So it'd be the exact same thing I would do. Put the brush against a clean piece of tissue, spray it on, and then just clean it off. So it's kind of a very similar way of doing it. So sometimes I'll find that alcohol doesn't move or remove some of the more stubborn stains though, as well as the brush cleanser. So what I would do is use my brush cleanser first and then follow up with alcohol. So you'll really clean it really well with the brush cleanser, but if you're not 100% sure that it'll be enough to kill any germs that you might think are on it, or any just kind of nastier germs, go in with your alcohol afterwards and give it a good blitz, and then because it is quite a high percentage, like I said 70 or above, that'll be dried almost instantly. So it's not something you have to worry about drying and waiting for ages just to dry out. Now, as far as deep cleaning goes, there are brush shampoos out there and stuff like that. There are a million YouTube videos, I think, out there that shows how to deep clean brushes this way. So, you know, it's basically putting a little bit of shampoo, working it into the brush, and rinsing it off with warm water and leaving it dry overnight. I'm not a fan of this just because it does take so long for it to dry, and with the water it's a bit messy and all that kind of stuff, and I just find there's no need to do it when I do keep on top of this. So if you do decide to go for a brush cleanser though, or for the deep cleaning method with shampoo, and you don't want to use an actual brush shampoo, if you are going to use shampoo, make sure it's baby shampoo. Don't use anything that's going to be very stripping or harsh, that would be used for maybe taking like a lot of product out of natural hair, like human hair on your head. Or don't use anything that has like a conditioner in it, because that will leave a residue on your brush as well, and that can affect the quality of your makeup application and what it does to the actual makeup as well. So if you're wondering about how often you should be cleaning your brushes, really you should be cleaning them after every use. If it's like a cream or a liquid product, because that can just harbour a lot of germs and a lot of bacteria, because it's kind of sticky and it does attract all that stuff if you're just leaving it out in your room overnight or whatever. And then also with powder products, maybe you can go every 2 or 3 times, but be aware that every time you use a powder brush, so you pop it on your face and then you apply the powder to your face. Not only is the powder going onto your face, but your face oils and any germs in your face is also going back onto that brush. So when your brush is used the second day into your nice powder, you're actually putting your face oils and germs onto that powder, and a lot of people don't realise that this is often what causes that hard film on top of powders that makes it really hard to use. So that's one thing you really do have to be concerned about. So one way to get around this, if you're not going to be cleaning your brushes that often, would be to give your powder a nice wipe after every use, just to get rid of any top residue that might have been transferred on that way. But obviously if you are using it on other people, clean every single time. There's no kind of leeway really there. You have to clean them really keep on top of it. Now, one more thing I'll say is that sometimes if you have like long lasting products, or like eyeliner or gel eyeliner or waterproof products, it can be really hard to get them off. Sometimes I'll find the brush cleanser doesn't quite do it, so in that case I use like something like Max Cleanse Off oil, or if I don't have anything else to hand, I'll use my baby oil, just the plain Johnson's baby oil, something that can break down product. And then I pretty much do the same thing. I'll just apply it onto a little bit of the tissue and work it around. But what I tend to do most of the time, because I find it works better than any of those other methods, is to use a dual phase or a oil-based eye makeup remover, and I find that this will shift pretty much anything. It's designed to shift any of these hard products from your eye area anyhow, so you know it's going to be delicate because it is for the eye area, and it's also going to shift those really hard to move products like the waterproof one and the long lasting ones and the budge proof ones. So what I'll usually do is, with a lot of these, it works the same way. You have to shake them up and then it mixes the two together. Pour a little bit onto your tissue again, and then you can see there it'll take off the product, whereas I had already tried to wash this earlier on in the normal brush cleanser, but because it was a hard to get off product, it didn't work quite as well. So I'll get off as much of the product as I can using the eye makeup remover, or like I said, the baby oil or cleanse off oil or whatever you have to hand first, and then I'll go over it quickly with the normal brush cleanser again, just to get rid of any residue so that I'm not applying oil onto my face with the makeup, which will you know, kind of affect the longevity of makeup if there is any oil or residue mixed in with it. And one thing I will say, I know a lot of people ask me, is there any natural remedies, or natural, not remedies, but natural ways of cleaning brushes? The only thing I have tried really before was that that way of mixing some of your antibacterial washing up liquid with a bit of olive oil. Now it's good in the way that it is antibacterial, so it'll help kill that bacteria, and the washing up liquid is a stripper, so it will help take away a lot of the product. It is drying on the product obviously, and the brushes obviously, and that's why you use the olive oil to help condition it back again. I just find this is a bit messy. It does work, but I don't think in the long run it might be the best thing in the world for brushes. But it does work if you want to try and do it and you can't get your hands on any of this other stuff and you just want something cheap and cheery around the house. So I would definitely maybe check out Michelle Phan's video on that. That's where I first saw it, and I'm sure there's loads of other people who do it. And one last thing I will say is, if you are washing your brushes with water, be very, very careful not to get any water up the ferrule, or even if you're washing it with brush cleanser, because what you can also do is put your brush cleanser into a little cup and just soak some of the bristles in it for a couple of minutes if they're really laden with product and you want to get rid of it, and then you can rinse it off. But as long as none of that product, so either the water or the brush cleanser or alcohol, gets up this part, the metal part of the brush, which is called the ferrule, because there's glue up there, and any of those kind of loosen the glue, which will definitely ruin your brush, and that's often why brushes that never really shed before start shedding as well. So that's pretty much my brush cleansing video. I hope this was helpful, and if you have any questions, as usual, you can leave them below and I'll get back as soon as possible. So thanks a million for watching, guys, and I'll chat to you all really soon. Slán!